told you not to go in alone.
I didn't. Brought my two friends.
John Woo's Stranglehold by John Woo, starring Chow Yun-fat, as presented by John Woo. John Woo! And I'm not saying that to be arbitrary or annoying. Well, maybe a little. But I'm saying this because this game kind of just feels like it's trying to sell you on some big names instead of giving you a fun, unique, different take on a video game. Now, the story follows Chow Yun-fat as Inspector Tequila trying to solve the case of a dead police officer, and then it kind of snowballs into drug cartels, and then there's just a bunch of shooting and stuff. I honestly don't think the story was the point here. And that works out well because the story isn't all that wildly interesting. It's basically your generic action movie plot where you basically have a cop who's trying to do his job and he's basically getting stopped every 10 feet because of red tape, but he doesn't let it stop him. Look, it's a generic action movie title. I don't know what you want from me. It's basically every average action movie cliche rolled into one. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. That could lead to a very dumb, goofy movie. And in turn, a dumb, goofy game plot. But here, it doesn't feel like they're trying to emphasize the dumb goofiness. It feels like it's being played completely straight. But there's no real intrigue or interest to it. It's just a bunch of stuff that just kind of sort of happens. But let's forget all that. It's a game. A game is interactive medium, therefore the most important thing is the interactivity. How is it? Well, it's an average third-person shooter. I will say, though, that this game does have one unique feature. It does add mild parkour and jumping around like a crazy person. And you can combine this with the game's second unique mechanic, which is a skill shot system. Killing your opponents in the most stylish way possible rewards you with a special meter, which can then slow down time as you flip through the air in bullet time, or whatever they want to call it in this game. It's not much, but it is a cool little thing that does give this game a little bit of unique personality. And the fact that time slows down in order to give you more style points, in order to extend your style meter, ends up creating a sort of self-serving system, which is kind of interesting, which works rather well. Beyond that, the only other really unique thing about this game, compared to, like, any other third-person shooter ever, aside from the fact that you don't have to staple yourself to cover, in fact, cover isn't even really a concept in this game, is the fact that you'll sometimes go into these scripted Mexican standoffs where you get like 3 or 4 people all pulling guns on you at the same time and you have to shoot them all as stylishly as possible while dodging their bullets. That's kind of fun, although during the later levels it does get really, really irritating really, really fast, because if you screw up dodging those bullets, you get taken out really quick. That said, it does at least give this game something unique. Beyond that, there really isn't that much in terms of unique gameplay mechanics. You're basically running around various arenas where enemies just pop up and spawn in front of you. Seriously, it happens. Other times they appear out of cardboard box buildings through doors that magically only open when enemies are around. And as you move from one static environment to the other, that's basically what you're going to be doing. Sometimes there's a side objective, but for the most part it's basically just run through one arena killing everyone, run to the next. Rinse, repeat, move on. Oh, wait. There was a turret section at one point, too. I'm not giving you points for that one, Stranglehold. Sorry. The overall shooting mechanics work well enough, I suppose. The guns don't feel wildly powerful. Don't get me wrong, you take out your opponents pretty much in one shot, but while they are effective, they just don't feel powerful, you know? I think it has to do with the audio work. Something about the guns just doesn't sound quite right. They sound very subdued when you really want more power, especially if you're trying to emulate a cheesy action movie. They do, however, succeed on one level in terms of gameplay trying to emulate a cheesy action movie. And that is, the environments are destructible, and that's about the best thing about this game. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but pretty much everything in the environment can be leveled, outside of the static cardboard box walls. And that's actually really cool. It definitely gives you a sense that, you know what, I've been here, and I did that. And it does feel empowering, despite the fact that the guns feel kind of weak. And that's definitely one really cool thing about Stranglehold. The overall presentation is, I'm going to be polite and say average. There's just nothing interesting to look at here. The audio presentation is also kind of average. I mean, yes, that is Chow Yun-fat as Chow Yun-fat, which That's cool, I guess. But beyond that, the voice acting is not particularly good. As I've said, the guns don't really sound all that particularly good. And the music, I'm pretty sure there isn't any. So if it's there, it's not worth remembering at all. And in a nutshell, that's basically Stranglehold. It's a game that feels like it's just trying to sell you John Woo's name and Chow Yun-fat's name for star appeal. And you know what? For some people, that'll be enough. I won't begrudge you that. But beyond that, you've got a game that really isn't trying to do anything wildly interesting. It's a standard third-person shooter. It's got some solid world destruction, which is neat. But then I immediately have to take all those points away for the fact that it's really, really buggy. I mean, no joke, my first time playing through this game, I got trapped in the environment. And that happened like 3 times, and there's nothing you can do about it. This game crashed on me a few times as well. It's definitely not a well-tested game, I don't think. And that's really the biggest, most damning thing about this. It's just not a very well-made game. It's not all that fun. It is kind of goofy and cheesy, and for some people that'll be enough. I mean, my unabashed love of Earth Defense Force should tell you how much I love cheese, but it just doesn't do it in this game. Yes, there's cheese, but is it well produced? Not really. Is it well written? Not really, no. Is the gameplay fun? It's mostly average. But would I recommend Stranglehold? No. Because at the end of the day, Stranglehold feels like it can skate by on name power alone. And not because it's a well-made, well-crafted game. Because it really isn't.